Hey everybody, this is the Combo Wombo podcast. I'm Chip Monk, and with me as always the chocolate chip milk drinking Gimp Monk. What's that? The Gimp Monk,
The
dude.
Gimp Monk. Like
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
drinking
You get
chocolate
that
milk.
calcium.
It's
You're
coffee.
up in your level,
It's
dude.
cold brew. It's cold brew coffee. But
All right.
yeah, no, it's. I had to have a cold coffee this morning. It was like hot as shit when I woke up. It's like 80 degrees outside. Crazy.
You'd like evolve. You do like a Pokemon, dude.
I am.
Yeah, dude. Like the different. Is it the EVs? Yeah, you have to have the different evolutionary crystals, dude.
Right.
Here's the chocolate milk, dude.
I like it. What's new with you, brother? It feels we took a week break just because there's really no news, honestly. Like, on the gaming front. It's July. The summer's typically slow, but
there's
I figure
a bunch of like rumors and murmurs about different stuff, but like we've never really been
with nothing.
Those dudes.
Yeah, you need to have validity. I'd rather
everyone's like,
than just talk about bullshit for an hour,
Yeah, but did you see this one sentence that was leaked from this email? Do you think it means this? Yeah, let me spend an hour breaking it down.
So yeah,
what does this mean?
Let's see with you, Chip. Anything happened over the last week and a half since we spoke?
Nothing, man. I realized I still am paying for Game Pass. So like I was like trying to figure that out because like you're like, yo, get Dishonored. So I was like, yeah, I bet. So I bought Dishonored. And then there's this other
nice for the sale for like $5 or whatever.
Yeah. I was like on Steam sale. But then it's all on Game Pass. So I was like, fuck. I feel like but they have like 2 and like the expansion on there as well. So
okay, but you bought the first one, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can play that whenever.
I am very interested in hearing what you think of the level design once you get.
Yeah.
I'd say once you're like 3 hours into the game, just like hit me up, dude. Tell me what you think because it's really good. I don't want to overhype it, but like I look back at that game fondly and I want to replay through it on PC.
Yeah, like that YouTuber I sent you, like he was like one of the level designers for that game. So I've seen like some of like his thoughts and like how he approaches level design and stuff. So it's like be interesting to see in practice the theory hitting the
Yeah, and it depends on how you play stealth games as well. I think how much the levels will affect you.
I usually go deep into one build, and then if that stops working, I like quit the game.
Okay. The Dishonored's very open ended, so I think it'll work the whole way through.
Yeah. Like, well, I don't know. I've tried that with like Deus Ex.
You quit Deus Ex over build?
The Mankind, the remake.
Okay, because I was gonna say the OG. I was like, you could go through with it pretty.
No, like I was like building like a non-stealth build, and then there's like a part where like I think you have to stealth, otherwise like it just breaks the mission. So you kind of get like soft locked in. Like if you didn't put like, they're like, what are the odds somebody would put 0 points into like anything else? And it's like, yeah, that's me, dude. I can't have no other options but this. Like,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, so,
you're playing Bulletstorm. The rest of the world's playing Deus Ex.
Yeah, man.
Love it.
Yeah, and I was fine with like Cyberpunk. I was able to get through all that with like because they also like kind of have the same branching design philosophy.
Are you excited for Phantom Liberty, the expansion coming out?
Not really, man.
Really? I don't know. I'm actually hyped for it.
Yeah, I know you picked up Cyberpunk at one point, so it's interesting to see you got some hype. Did you ever even play the?
Not yet. I was looking at the Phantom Liberty and the Idris Elba voiceover. He seems like fully into it because he was at an interview recently. He's like. They're like, oh, you have no movies lined up for the rest of this year. He's like, yeah, I had to do some voiceover work for Cyberpunk. It was fucking great. he's like, at first I thought it was gonna be a real easy job, just go there, spit a few lines out, and go home. Yeah. But I got real into the story, so then I went home and checked out the whole Cyberpunk game. I was like, it's fucking great.
It's just been sitting around playing the tabletop RPG the whole time.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I just took a year off to play. RPG tabletops.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the fact that Idris Elba is excited for it seems pretty cool.
The what? What?
Oh, I said the fact that Idris Elba, like the main, he's the antagonist in the expansion. Yeah, he's excited for it. Makes me go, okay, that seems pretty cool because he's definitely not a gamer. He's hyped for it. So that's pretty cool. I think too with Cyberpunk being fixed, that more people having the the experience that they initially wanted. It's helping that game too. It's one of those games that and we discussed on the pod that the game would be fixed and everyone's gonna love it. As of about 7 days ago, maybe a little under, it reached overwhelming positive status on Steam.
That's good, man.
So,
like, I don't know. They've been slowly fixing that game up. A lot of the people who are deep in that community too, there's like good mods and stuff to basically make it a full game at this point.
Yeah. So you were one of the only people who actually went through the entire game, beat it, and still said it was good.
Yeah.
So, but you didn't have
I think
like
it was
a
kind of
mess either, right? Like you were. Like,
yeah. But I also like wasn't like full on like the hype train of it. Like I didn't really pay attention to it. I like
right.
I remember like seeing like the first trailer, but I didn't even realize that was the same game because it's so fucking different. It's like the lady like in the rain with like mantis arms and cops shooting at it. Somebody I was watching some other YouTube video where they're like talking about like, you know, their long development cycle, and they're like, this is what they promised us. And I was like, oh, that's the same fucking game. Like I wasn't like that deep into it where I was like, yeah, what else is coming, you know? So I don't know, like I saw it looked interesting, looked next gen, you know, in air quotes, and I was like, I got a more modern PC. Let me try out some cool shit. I'm looking for some cool shit to play that looks good, that pushes the graphic limits.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was. I also think it was maybe mismarketed as well. Where I don't know. I told like people like on this pod where it's like it's more of like a visual novel than like a traditional RPG. Like it's not like choose your own adventure. It's like here's kind of the plot.
And you're gonna,
yeah. And it's like there's like maybe a couple different endings, but basically it's like all streams lead back to the same river type of thing.
You know what I miss? The true cyberpunk dream, Shadowrun.
Yeah,
you know, like OG, like Sega Genesis Shadowrun. Anyone listening to this pod, seriously, if you have the Genesis or if you have emulation abilities,
play a Super Nintendo version. It's way better.
Really?
Don't listen to this guy.
I like the Genesis version.
And then like the
they're different. Like,
they're way different.
Yeah.
And then there's like cheats for the
honestly,
Sega.
I feel like the Genesis version was superior, but maybe it's because it's the one I played first. Maybe that's why. But I think both games are finally remembered. Honestly.
Yeah. Nobody. Yeah, they're different experiences. Though. So for me, I think like the Super Nintendo one's maybe better. But probably played the Sega Genesis one more, but
and I'd say it's a true cyber future style, like it's projected in the media in the game. I feel it engrosses you in its story, and it's unapologetic in its terminology, where you gotta have to figure out like the like what things are,
They made more Shadowrun, dude. They had like a Kickstarter, I think, or
I own them all. I just never jumped back.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where
I jumped back into it.
The Kickstarter, I was like, I'm not.
Really it became more of like an XCOM style, like top down. I didn't like that. I liked where it was more fast action.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking it'll be like the Sega or the Super Nintendo version of the game, where now it's like it's more slow paced and like thought out. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's kind of
second Shadowrun game, the Dragon something or other, was really good story wise. But
I played past like the prologue and like some other shit, and I'm like, I just never been deep into like XCOM style games, like that turn based tactic. I'm like,
I really like those. Maybe I'll give it a try eventually.
I don't know what's wrong with me, man. I just don't like that battle system.
Really? I went through a big and I'm getting off topic here, but off the topic I want to get to, but I just have to say this. One of my favorite ever games is Shining Force 2, and I think I've mentioned it multiple times on this podcast.
I don't think you've mentioned it once.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you being facetious right now, or have I not mentioned
it?
No,
I don't think you've mentioned it. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I would remember Shining Force. It's like, damn, that's a deep cut.
Okay. Yeah. So Shining Force 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and Shining Force 3 was my main reason for emulating the Saturn, or trying to emulate the Saturn. When I was a teenager, I found out that we did not, here in the States, we did not get the true Shining Force 3 because there's two more discs in that game that never got translated, and there's been a fan translation that's been working for nearly 20 years on translating the whole fucking game, which just got done with... I think disc 2 is halfway done or something, or disc 3 is halfway done, and they have to work on disc 4, but it's completely playable now. You can beat it, but some things will still be in Japanese. But That was my main reason for emulating the Saturn, was Shining Force 3, and no other turn-based tactic RPG really scratched that same itch. Like, I love Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, and they were really good, but they still didn't quite scratch the Shining Force itch, and Shining Force never really went back to their turn-based tactics either. They went through, Shining Force, that series of things, where it's a completely different system. Obviously, there's a Fire Emblem series and stuff like that for, like, a tactics game, but again, like, Shining Force, something about the world, the music, and its battle system really just hit on all fucking angles for me.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm one of those Shining Force fans who are just like
unapologetic.
Unapologetic. Yeah. And I love
man.
XCOM, and I love the XCOM series. So I maybe I will like those Shadowrun games. I think if the story hits, and I think especially the music for me.
The story was pretty good. That's kept me in there longer than anything else. Like the battle, like took me out of it, but like the story was like, I kind of want to know what happens. But
yeah. Well, like battle music, how's that?
It's very forgettable. It had like some decent like intro music and like menu shit was all solid. It draws you into the world, and then like you're just like, this is kind of whack. This music's whack.
Sorry,
I don't know. You might like it though. It's like I'd probably listened to too much like synth stuff at that point to be this is indistinguishable from other synth pop stuff. I'm not like, oh, this is that banger. This hangs out there.
Yeah. So I get it. But yeah. So as we were saying, like I forget how we got into this. Oh, like Cyberpunk. So
you're
excited for
you excited?
Yeah. Other things that are happening. Naraka Blade Point went free to play, which is a melee combat focused battle royale that was $20 for the past 2 years since its release, and it's garnered a really niche community. It's consistently one of the most played games on Steam, but it seems like no one's really talking about it, and I assume it's because of the price point. But it's a battle royale that's melee focused, and now it went free to play. With I think if you end up paying money, you get a better experience, but you can at least try it out now. I think that's pretty big for the battle royale genre because it's the only one that's really melee focused that's managed to stick around longer than a year. I was a big fan of Rumbleverse, the wrestling battle royale.
You played a ton of that.
I fucking loved that. That was so much fun. So I'm gonna give Naraka a try. I think I'll do it off stream. I'll just.
Do you think Rumbleverse ran like? Did it need to be a battle royale? I felt like it was like it doesn't need to be that.
No, I don't. I think it could have been like a Power Stone style game, like an arena battler, like wrestling or something.
It felt like that was maybe what they're going for, and somebody at some point was like, make it a battle royale. It felt like you could have like maybe like 10, 15 people, or like 4 people to 8 people locally or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, man.
Something about it just didn't. Maybe it's the art style, because like even when I was playing it, and Sir Solace, shout out, him and I had a shit ton of wins on that game. Neither of us liked the art style. We thought it looked ugly as hell.
Dang.
So maybe the art style just put a lot of people off. Maybe the fact that it was melee focused put people off, but I actually liked that because it was different.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's been other like battle royale style games that did things differently that didn't succeed. I forget the one that I really liked, but it was like a bow and arrow based combat. That one was fun. It's like you're on
the Calling.
No, not the Calling. You were like on a game show or something like that, and like fans could vote on how to fuck up your game or whatever.
Can we get back 1 versus 100? Remember that? It was like on the old school Xbox game.
360, hell yeah. They
I feel like that was
launch it a while back and it just failed miserably. But yeah,
it was dope. Like you could if you got to the end, like you won real stuff, like real Xbox money or games.
Yeah.
You got unlocked the game in your library.
I think that's something to be said too, because if for more casual fans to win real things, I think that's pretty huge. I think that what fucked Microsoft over with that was it was unclear how you could be the one.
Yeah.
Like it was like randomly selected or something, but I think if there was like some sort of pre-vetting process or something, and like a game show, really, like you sign up or whatever, you get a little interview and some questions, and then yes or no. Do it like that. But yeah, I thought 1 versus 100 was a fantastic idea, and game shows really appeal to casual audience, and then like trivia everyone can participate in. It's
I think another huge thing it had going for it too was like it was like a set time. It wasn't like you could.
It was like a legitimate TV show, right?
Yeah, it was like you have to be in it like whatever it was, like 5 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central or something, or 4.
Yeah.
It was like you have to be here and like get in, and then like we're only running this for an hour.
Yeah.
However many games we're gonna have, or maybe it was like 3 hours or something. But yeah, set times. I think that adds something to the novelty of it, makes it an event.
Yeah, since the advent of Xbox Live and the just commonality of it, they've no longer been unique with it.
Yeah.
I think the most unique thing right now, unfortunately, is Fortnite doing it with their live concerts. I think the Travis Scott one probably being the best one they've done. That one was the most like visually impressive and unique, and it seemed like a full.
Did you see that they opened up the Unreal Fortnite? Yes. Like they made like a weird creators space or whatever, so you can make levels for Fortnite now.
Yeah.
That looked pretty dope. I watched a few tutorials and stuff on that.
It's basically Roblox now. It's just
platform. I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
It's like a gateway to get people into the Unreal Engine.
True.
It seemed like my first Unreal Engine experience type of thing. And somebody who's like doesn't really mess with Unreal Engine, I'm like, maybe I should mess around with Fortnite, dude. It's got like a bajillion people playing that game, dude.
True.
It's like Roblox. They said somehow vaguely you can maybe make money off the shit you make too. So
it seems so. It's such a
It's mad sussy. I don't know, but you can say the same thing about like Roblox. Roblox is like straight up like exploitative, where it's like, you have to use real money to get Roblox coins, and then you use the Roblox coins to buy stuff to be able to make games, and then other people pay you Roblox coins to play your game. So now you can get more Roblox coins or whatever. But then you can also cash out the Roblox coins for like,
for real money.
It's kind of like it's like the old pachinko machines like in Japan, where it's like technically it's not gambling, but
yeah. Interesting. I won't get into how Roblox is predatory or not. I think that I'm legitimately surprised, and maybe I'm just ignorant to this fact, but how have they not been sued by Lego? Is that just me? Like,
it looks vaguely similar.
It looks vaguely similar, yeah.
I think like
still Lego versus Mega Bloks deal. You know what I mean? It's just like
I think it's like pips. It's a very distinct look. The little pips on top. I don't know. It's like as long as they're not doing that with like a groove on the bottom, pips on top. I think they're
okay.
Yeah, they're probably all right. I'm if they could, I'm sure they would have. Man, I just saw that one YouTuber, he got sued by Time Warner for having the MythBusters logo.
Really?
But they couldn't, because they didn't re-up like their trademark on it, so he bought it.
Yeah.
But they couldn't like sue him for that. But then like he made like a parody logo of like CNN.
Okay.
And then they're like, we're gonna sue you, and you're gonna have to pay for all of our lawyer fees. And so he's like, so I asked a real lawyer if they can do this, and the real lawyer was like, yeah, bro. He's like, so yeah, I'll give it up. I'm giving him all this shit. I'm like, that's the right move, bro. That's the right move.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Speaking of lawyers and things like that, big news actually that I wanted to go over and get your opinion on. Microsoft actually won its injunction in the States here for the Activision-Blizzard merger. So now there is nothing stopping them from completing this deal. It's expected to be completed sometime mid next month in August. So all of their laid out plans of Call of Duty, still being on PlayStation, Starfield being an Xbox exclusive. I can't remember what else was the big thing. Oh yeah, the big argument was Sony's head said, "What's stopping them from keeping Call of Duty exclusive?" Like,
Starfield what about the cards?
Or like because Starfield's exclusive and it was originally going to be a PlayStation exclusive, and Bethesda's head got out and said, "Yeah, what makes us different? How come we're not multi-platform release?" And here's my thought: it was initially going to be a PlayStation exclusive for Starfield. That's what the rumors say. I don't know how true they are, but I think that Microsoft was playing like a tit for tat kind of a thing. If it was going to be multi-platform, I feel like they were going to keep it multi-platform. It's going to be exclusive. I feel they swapped the exclusivity. So.
Sure.
And I don't feel like Microsoft. I feel they like money more than they are petty. So I think that Starfield will eventually come to the PlayStation consoles. It's just going to be a year. They're going to make it wait a year, just like PlayStation does for the PC ports. Just like Deathloop
I'll come to PlayStation and PC everywhere else or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, is that like, I feel like if they actually had a case, there'd be like some sort of contract or something, though, right? Like they'd already agreed upon, for the exclusivity. Usually, platforms pay for that as well. So it's like, hey, we're gonna give you X dollars for this amount of time on our platform, and everyone goes, cool, and then they take that money.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, if they already had that agreement, like the bag has been exchanged, like, right. I don't think you can really. You could probably get out of it, right? But
no, this is your point is perfect, because here's what happened with Call of Duty. They are agreed to be on PlayStation for the next 3 iterations. That was the already agreed upon plan. Microsoft went out and said for the foreseeable future, even beyond that deal. So they estimate like the next 6 to 8 Call of Duty games will be multi-platform and before they have to go back to discussions. They already committed to that, but it was not a contractual agreement. It was a verbal agreement, but also posted online, so the public forum can rip you apart.
Yeah. Also, verbal agreements are real agreements, man. I feel like you shake hands on something, like
but Sony's had just went ape shit. It was like, no, we need fucking Call of Duty. This is bullshit. And then other plans for Microsoft's acquisition strategy have come out. They wanted to buy Namco. They wanted to buy Sega.
Okay.
Shit, they tried to buy Sega. They didn't have enough. They didn't put up enough money for it.
I feel like Sega feels like they're overvalued, bro. Like they're like, yeah, we're projected to be worth X amount, dude. I don't know. They're fucking big too, bro. That's the other thing.
I was gonna say a big part of Sega.
They got bought up by like that bigger conglomerate. Yeah, like they do like media. Yeah, they do pachinko machines. They do gambling machines.
They actually do like physical household products. They have like fucking washing machines and shit.
Yeah,
like in a laundromat. Like that's a big chunk of their business and shit like that.
They got all kinds of shit. Yeah.
So Sega's bigger than just the games, and also Sega has low key been on an upward path.
For their games.
With Sonic getting its head out of its ass finally, the Yakuza series doing fucking bangers, the spin-offs doing bangers. Sega
they own. I think they own Atlas too, right? The Persona.
No, they don't own it. I think they have a stake.
So, okay.
They don't own it outright, but yeah. I think they get a chunk.
They got a little taste of that, dude. Persona's been doing bangers.
Exactly. I think this is and forgive me if I'm wrong, but just from the outside looking in, I feel like Sega, like the higher ups and as the company culture in the back of their mind, they still feel like they could be one of the big 3. Just like years past. So I think that if they got bought by one of these, like Microsoft, Sony, let's even throw Nintendo in there. If they got bought completely by one of the big 3, I think that's the final nail in the coffin for the old console wars that we grew up with, right? They feel like, oh shit, we just lost everything.
Yeah, end of the Clone Wars, dude.
Yeah. I feel like that's what's keeping Sega afoot, is just that like rebellious mentality, like the fucking like the Seminoles in Florida who've never surrendered. That's like Sega right now. Like, they've never surrendered. They're. But I think,
it's weird too. It's hard to like slice out a piece of your company and be like, oh yeah, we'll just let that. And then it's like there's a transitionary period. There's like cultural differences as well, since they're mostly based out of Japan.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, do we want to like? I think that's also a huge part of it that other people don't like to talk about.
Yes.
A little thing called World War II, where Japanese people don't really necessarily like to sell their company to American companies. And like vice versa. I mean, they had the same problem. What was a Ford when they tried to buy up like Ferrari, and they're like, "Fuck you," like.
Well, didn't
they're like, we'd rather go
for like they hated Ford in general, but
they had
that huge competition between their sports cars too.
Yeah, but they had like a legitimate. But they were like offering to sell, and then they like were like, all right, yeah, we'll like legitimately buy you up. So they sent their guy there, and then like the guy came there and like. He's like, nah, get out of here. We'd rather not. Like, after all that, it was like, you just teased us, dude. You put up like a whole bill of sale and all this other stuff, and like, what? Just to how you take them in? They're like, yeah. Just to mess with you just a little bit more, dude.
Like, real Enzo move.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Enzo or Ferrari versus Ford?
No.
Matt Damon and Christian Bale. You should check it out. It's great. It has that whole Ferrari Ford rivalry. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think that's also part of that. Is like, maybe in the back of their mind as well as a bit of national pride too. Is like, this is a Japanese company. We're going to keep.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, dude, I think that this Activision Blizzard deal, it's huge in the gaming landscape. It really is, and it's bigger than the Bethesda acquisition and people always say Bethesda acquisition. It's actually ZeniMax. It was actually a ZeniMax acquisition because ZeniMax was owned by, or Bethesda was owned by ZeniMax. So with that acquisition, you got 3 big studios and then a couple of smaller ones that made decent games, right? So you had Bethesda, obviously the big fish. You had Arcane. You had Tango GameWorks. You had id, who obviously Doom, Quake, their legacy IPs are huge. You know, and the Arcane offshoots too, like the 5-6 and the Hellblade guys. You know, like big, right? But not. I feel like id has not been the industry standard as it was in the early 90s. So it was a big acquisition. It's not like game shaking. Bethesda was the true game shaker because of the longevity of their games and the initial popularity of their games. Like people are still playing Skyrim to this day, and that game's over a decade old. You know,
sure, yeah, man.
4, obviously, you know, stuff like that.
I was just talking about that the other day with somebody. I was like, can't we get new fucking Skyrims, dude? Like they've been dropping the same fucking game for like the last 15 years.
Bethesda was the big foothold. And it's definitely a unit seller. With Activision Blizzard, they don't give 3 fucks about anything except for, and I guarantee you, it's 2 properties that they care about, and it's 2 of the most money making properties ever. And even though this one is falling off, World of Warcraft, Call of Duty. Those are the 2 they actually care about, because still to this day, World of Warcraft makes billions of fucking dollars for like no overhead. It's just money in the hand. It's just money in your pocket, dude. You wake up billions. You
ever play Warcraft?
World of?
Yeah.
No, I'm not an MMO guy. It doesn't work for me at all. I've given plenty of MMOs a shake with the most big Lineage.
But not World of Warcraft. You never give it a good shook?
No.
Nah.
No.
I tried it like for the 30-day free trial.
I like the lore, truly.
Yeah, like there's some great lore of probably watch like there's like YouTube videos where they break down like all the different characters. Oh, dude, you go down a rabbit hole of really Warcraft. Yep. Some good shit. Tried like the 30-day free trial back in the day. Yeah. And I was just mad that you couldn't just fight people wherever, like Lineage 2. And I was like, man, this game's for babies. I'm done.
Yeah.
I was like, if we can't just bully people right outside like the town zone, ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of stood on it.
Gotcha. But then obviously Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is the #1 FPS in the market, and people consider like the most valuable franchise in gaming at the moment, outside of like Mario. But Mario's not going anywhere.
You also got to like remember like the back end too, like all the networking, the servers, the warehouses. True. Like all the physical architecture, like should get that all converted over to our Azure Microsoft.
That's the thing. Most are actually using the Azure cloud already.
As far
as stuff. I imagine Warcraft will go from. I think they're using AWS. I think they'll probably move over to.
I wonder, technology-wise, like if there's some good shit they can get from like that cloud computing from like World of Warcraft, that real time like stuff. I wonder if that'll help them. Even
could, yeah, but do you think that, and Call of Duty definitely still sells, and obviously it is what it is. But for me, and maybe this is talking as just like a general gamer, it's long in the tooth, right? It's about time for another transitional period for a new FPS to take the throne. I feel, because Quake and Unreal's like throne was taken over by Halo. Halo from Halo went to Counter-Strike, and then now we have Counter-Strike's lasted for 2 generations now.
Counter-Strike's just been sitting there.
I'm sorry, Call of Duty's
I thought you were like, Counter-Strike's just been sitting in the background the whole time, dude.
Sorry, like Call of Duty's less than 2 generations now, and I'm talking about just overall. I think CS has always had its community. CS is always the biggest PC game, honestly. But as far as
it's crazy
as like casuals and console and everything else, it's been Call of Duty, and it's been Call of Duty, but Call of Duty's never been a full plate. I feel like when it was Halo, you had story, you had a subset of gamers who just did the co-op, you had a subset who like when Forge mode came out, you just did shit like that, and then you had the PvP guys. Call of Duty's never really had like people go, oh, I love the campaign, or you know, like by itself. I want to. They had like those weird co-op modes that never really did anything. Like even now they have some raid modes that I think they have 2 raids out now, and it's been over almost a year. Like,
It's been a disaster.
yeah, no, I don't think it's been a disaster. I think they always have like good ideas, but they never go full bar because they have 3 different studios going for it. So you never have like a true
Yeah.
iteration of it until 3
Like
years
each
later.
studio
So,
kind of
yeah.
does its own little slice of whatever that is, like their zombies or their whatever, their co-op
Yeah,
mode or their
yeah, yeah.
whatever.
And you know,
Yeah.
skill-based matchmaking has been an issue for a long time with Call of Duty. You know,
I
so
will say they get my fucking money though, dude. Like
yeah,
every 4 or 5 years, I'll just be like, all right, let me buy this Call of Duty. This one seems like the hype one right now. I'll check it
yep,
out.
yep,
And then I'll
yep,
play it for like a couple of days or a month or a week.
yep.
And I'm like, yeah, it was more Call of Duty. And then they
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. Sometimes you crave that gameplay. That's true. They get my
Yeah.
money too. I mean, yeah,
It's like it was a warm blanket, dude. Like, I don't know.
yeah. But I think that I mean, Sony won the last console generation, 100%. Sony's winning this current console generation. What's your fucking big deal? Your exclusives are fucking carrying you on board. Who gives a fuck if they have the new Call of Duty? That's not
Yeah.
your exclusives are your system sellers. They're banger after banger. Keep working
Yeah.
on those, Sony. Why are you scared? That's my 2 cents, man. And I'm gonna end it on that. I said, why are you scared,
Yeah.
bitch?
If you're scared, go to church. Like, share,
Exactly, man.
subscribe. We out. Peace.
Later.